What's up, everyone? So I'm working on putting the floor pans in right now. I posted a couple pictures of the passenger side, and it's some work trying to get factory floor pans to fit back in correctly, and then I had to make some pieces to kind of close up that gap right there. As you can see, there's a little hole there, but seam fill will get a lot of that. You just can't. I mean, I guess you could, but it would be extremely time consuming trying to make the metal piece so perfect that it just literally covers every square centimeter, I guess. But the this one went in pretty nice. I had to do some modifications to it to get it lay down nice and flat and get it back in the way it's supposed to be. So now I've got to work on this other one, which I mean, it shouldn't be any harder other than just having to work around, you know, some of this stuff that's already in there. But like right now, I can already see I'm gonna have to do some. I gotta be able to push this over some more because it's up against away from the deal here. So there's a gap. So I'm gonna take that right there. I'm gonna cut a little bit of that off, and there's a this side. Rocker panel here has like a natural curve in it that's from the factory, and so I got to make this thing fit up in there like it's supposed to. Then I think that'll bring this edge where it needs to be, and then I've got to come in here and add some metal to, you know, all the way up to here, I guess. Follow this floor pan and then come back in here and do the same thing on the other side and kind of close that up. So it's getting there. It's time consuming. A lot of work doing this. Oh, and then I need to come over here, and I guess I'm gonna have to trim this back edge here so that it'll sit down on. Right now it's sitting on top of some of these scallop strips, so I need to trim that back edge, which is basically on top of the scallop strip right now. So just little stuff. Like I said, it's real time consuming to try to make it fit nice and get a clean look out of it. And so I think what we're going to do is we're going to do the center console here. I need to put a cup holder in there, I guess, still. But do the center console with the hammered so it'll match the tubs. And I think maybe do the floor pans, and then on the firewall maybe the same color as the car, just to try to set it off a little bit. So I'm going to get everything getting going, and then I'll get back to it. So, as is usual, I'm pretty bad about recording everything that I need to record. So, I started doing some work on this floor panel and then forgot all about recording what I was doing. But in short, it was nothing spectacular. I was just making a little bit more room so that it would come up in here and meet the rocker panel a little bit better. And so, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to come in here and make the pieces that are going to go ahead and close up the floor here. And so I'll record that. That's actually a little bit more, I guess, interesting. Maybe be the right word. And I got to close up this right here in the frame rail, tie it all in. So that's what I'll get to today. So I had to do a few things. I had to kind of massage these floor panels and break it down a little bit to make sure it meets down here correctly. And so now I'll have to come in here and actually end up having to redo a little bit of the carbon right in here just to make sure that it fits in there nicely. So, which is no big deal. It's actually better that way because now it'll just be straight across and won't be wrapping around those bars and stuff like that. And it's just something I didn't think of beforehand before I started doing all the carbon work. Looking back at it, I should have waited till I had the floor pan before I did this particular piece right here, but I was just in the mode of carbon at the time trying to get it all done. So no biggie, just a little bit of an adjustment. So it's coming along, not too bad. I'm not super unhappy with it. You know, it's like anything else. You go back and you're like, okay, I would do this different next time. You always find something that you would do a little different. I talked about it, like these bars right here. It's cool looking whenever you're doing the bars, and then all of a sudden you got to put sheet metal on it. It's like, oh crap, that's a pain in the butt. So, but no biggie. We're working through it. So I'm gonna get started on. I'm gonna have to start making templates out of poster board for the floor part up here. I'm using all this lead right here, which is what I used to have for the back of my car. Using that to hold kind of pushing the floor down in place where it needed to be. So, but now I'll get in here with some, like I said, templates. I need to close this up, and then close this up right here. Man, I should have done a better job of grinding around this one, because now it's gonna be a pain in the butt to grind around it, and I need to weld it together. So no biggie. Yeah, so I'll start closing all that up, and once that's done, it's just to throw a little primer on it and start seam sealing everything so that we can finally be pretty much done with the tin work and the floorboards. The only thing we have left now is the trans tunnel, so we'll get to that shortly. I gotta make this piece of carbon that goes along there, but that's a pretty straightforward piece, not gonna be too time consuming. And man, we can actually start finishing all the little detailed, you know, touch-up painting and painting the inside and stuff like that, and then set this thing down as a roller. And then that's when the fun begins, wiring and building the engine turbo kit set up. And yeah, I'm pretty, oh, you know what, I forgot, I do have to come in here. We'll have to clean up this firewall area, but we closed this off. My friend Claude did that for me. But I'm gonna just fill this in right here because there's just no reason to have this. I have to figure out to put my windshield wipers on a different way. Close in these little holes, dress up the top. So there's a little bit more sheet metal work stuff to be done, but nothing too major, I guess. Just like I said, detail stuff is time consuming. So, but yeah, I'm getting excited because it's getting closer. I'm hoping by mid-year I'll have maybe getting ready to be starting it up. Maybe do some racing at the end of the year. So we'll see. I'll be maybe stuff. So I'm done with that. That took me, just closing up this area right here took me all day. And so that just shows you how time consuming it is, because I made I think two or three different templates with cardboard, because I got one that got me close, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to do something different. So I changed it up and made another one, and then made it out of steel, and then getting the steel to fit the way it needed to right along this tube right here. Took some time. So, but it's in there. Obviously there's some gaps, but you know, that'll get closed up with seam filler. There's just no way to make it, I guess there is, but it'd be tough to make it exactly perfect. So floorboards are in. I just gotta come in here and patch these holes up right here where the floorboard had to slide over the seat bar. And once I'm done with that, I'm gonna start moving, I guess, to the firewall area and start patching the holes in the firewall. And whatever holes I need after that, I'll just make. So I'm gonna make patch panels here. Still got a pretty good amount of work to do, but the floors are done. That's a big deal. I was kind of concerned how long that was going to take me. It did take me a while, but I think they look pretty decent. And yeah, I'm not too unhappy with it. So I just can't wait to get this thing, like I said, on the ground. So anyway, I'm gonna move on to making some patch panels for these pieces. This one right here is obviously going to be it's going to be interesting, because I got to come in here and, you know, it's got all these bends for the stock floor where it was pressed out. And so I got to make a patch panel that's going to cover that, which means I'm going to have to probably make some bends in the patch panel to match it, make it look decent. So stay tuned. We'll see how that comes out. Alright, so I'll finish that up. Didn't come out too bad. I actually pre-drilled holes this time. So I basically spot welded it in instead of doing it on the outside like I did this one. In the end, it didn't really matter because it's going to get seam filled anyway, but I don't know, something different. I think it looks a little bit better. Now it's going to move on to this one. Alright. Finished up the floorboards and these patches. They look a little bit like shit right now, but once you prime them and put paint on it, it'll be fine. Look like a factory floorboard basically. So started working on the patches on the tunnel as well. I'm sorry, on the firewall as well, and kind of a pain, but we'll dress all that up a little bit later on. So yeah, it's a big step.